Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Shannon, and today, in this video, we are going to talk about all the books that I read in January. Hey friends, I just want to self-insert here for a moment just to let you know that this video is intended to be spoiler-free. I do want to say that when I do get to this book in the video, I do realize that I may have talked about the plot in a way that could be seen as giving a spoiler. So if you are wanting to avoid that, when I start talking about the book, just skip over that little section. I'll see if I can put a timestamp so that you know when you can skip ahead to. So the first book that I actually started reading in January is actually Pineapple Street, and you guys have seen me post about this a little bit on my socials, but I picked it up thinking I was going to like the book and thought it was gonna be really cute. I ended up DNFing this book, so technically it is not part of this official recap of what I actually read, because I only got about 30% of the way through the book before I decided to DNF it. I felt like with Pineapple Street, it was kind of boring. Nothing was really happening. It's essentially just a rich family who has old money, and they're very snobby, they're very rich, and they don't really let people into their family or accept them very well. And it's basically just about their mundane, everyday problems that they have as snobby rich people. I felt like 30% of the way into the book that there really was no real plot developing, because again, the things that were mentioned in the book were just everyday problems that people have. You know,
oh, so-and-so is having a hard time finding a boyfriend. They're stuck in this weird situationship. You know, this person marries into the family and they don't feel like they're accepted.
I didn't feel like anything cool was going to happen out of that. I didn't feel like there was any real build up to the plot. And so I felt like I needed to DNF that book. I may try it again later in the year to see if it connects with me better later, but for right now, I couldn't do it. And then these are the books that I actually read in January. I did get sick for about a week, as you guys saw in my last video. My reading is a little thrown off, especially with DNFing a book and getting sick. It's been off this month. Normally, I could actually read more books than this. I just didn't get to it this month. So this recap will be a little bit shorter. So the first real book that I actually picked up this month is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And this is my first Ali Hazelwood book. I've heard really good things about it. This book just came out. This is her first YA romance book. And honestly, for being YA, it was a little spicier in sections than I would normally expect for a young adult romance. But I absolutely loved it. It was well written, and I think that the author had a lot of really cool chess references, because her entire thing is about women in STEM. I believe I rated it about a 3.5 star because it was good. It got me back into reading this month after DNFing Pineapple Street. I'm not 100% sure if maybe by the end of the year I'm going to fully remember the story. It was, for me, a short little read, but for me to rate a book at least 4 stars, I feel like it needs to be somewhat memorable. I don't feel like this book is going to be extremely memorable for me, but I did enjoy it and I would still recommend it. And then because I read that book by Ali Hazelwood and I really wasn't sure what to read next, I was kind of in a bit of a reading slump, I decided to pick up this other book of hers that I've had for quite some time. It is The Love Hypothesis. This is one of her most popular books. Again, it is about a woman in STEM, and essentially she's falling for a professor at her school.
He's like a professor, he's also kind of above her, but also she doesn't report directly to him.
I'm not 100% sure how all of this works. My friend is actually in a PhD program, so she could probably explain it better. Essentially, they end up fake dating and falling for each other. It's interesting, it's cute, but is it something that I'm going to remember, kind of like the other book? I don't think I'm going to remember much about this book by the end of 2024. It just wasn't that memorable for me. I enjoyed it. I would still recommend it if you're looking for something cute and short to read. I am an Ali Hazelwood fan now, and I have 2 more of her books that I'm going to get through later this year, and I will catch you guys up on those when I decide to pick them up. And then the next book I picked up is Caard, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I have heard so much about this entire series. I was actually very scared to pick it up because I'm generally not a fan of smut, and people said these books had a lot of it. Honestly, if you're somebody like me who doesn't like smut, you could probably still get through these books because there isn't that much smut. I think everybody in the universe first lied to me, it really wasn't that bad, especially this first book. So this first book here, it's, you know, not too hefty. I think it's what, like 400, a little over 400 pages. And I really liked it. I felt like the first maybe 40% of the book was a bit boring. It was definitely a lot of world building and a lot of character building so that you can kind of like understand what's happening in this universe. And then after that 40%, it really picks up. There is some romance. There is a lot of action. There's just a lot of stuff happening in this world. The last bit of this book, my jaw was on the floor. I thought that there were some interesting twists and turns. They made sense. I could have seen them coming, but also at the same time I didn't. It was a great book, and I am hooked on this series. But for anyone who is looking to pick it up and who has been a little bit off put by it, it does take a little minute to kind of get into it. Like I said, the first maybe 30-40% of the book is very slow, very boring, not much happening. And then once you got the world building out of the way, it picks up and it just goes from there. Like, you're just constantly going. This was my third official book for this month. And then lastly, the last book that I read in January is A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the Caard series. This one is hefty. It took me quite some time to finish this book, but I also really enjoyed it. I felt like, unlike the first book, this one was action-packed and busy the entire way through. So basically this one was like half world building, half character building, gets you into the action and what's going to happen in the book, the plot. This just continues it. It like also builds up its own separate plot, and I loved it. I can see why people are so hooked on this second book. People say that the second book is their favorite. It is the best one. I'm currently reading the third book. It's going to be part of February's recap. This is still better. I'm definitely hooked on this author and this series, and I'm excited to potentially read Throne of Glass after Caard, and then I want to get into Crescent City. And if you guys know this author, Sarah J. Maas, she released a new book for the Crescent City series on January 30th. I did not purchase it because I'm not reading those at the moment, but when I get towards that series, I will probably purchase the books and expand my collection of this author.
I finally see the hype.
Also, if you guys have made it this far in the video, I want you guys to comment down below if you are team Tamlin or if you're team Rhysand.
Because I need to judge you.
And I mean that in the best way possible, because I'm not gonna lie. If you read this book, you are team Tamlin. You read this book, you are team Rhysand. I really hope you guys enjoyed this January recap video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I am currently adding more book videos to this channel because I have really been enjoying reading lately. I can't wait to share with you guys the other books that I have on my TBR that I am going to read for this year. I know I just posted a video where I said what my TBR is. Well, guess what? It's changed. I think I'm a fantasy girly now. I think I'm a romantasy reader. I'm hooked. But I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a good week. As of right now, I am posting videos every Monday morning, so be sure to check back next week for another video.